Hello, fellow YouTubers. Crazy Eddie Ed Matteo Jr. coming at you. And today we are making two bean nachos. Two bean nachos with some simple ingredients. First, we're going to start with the Goya small red beans. And then we're going to go with the Goya organic black beans, which these are lower in sodium. I could not find the lower sodium ones for the small red beans. Top it off with a fabulous Good and Gather, which is Target brand, restaurant style salsa. Let's get the show on the road. Okay, first thing we got to do here is I'm going to zoom you over here. We have our foiled pan. I have the oven set to 425. Usually I suggest 375. I got to set to 425 because I have some other things going in there. We get our pan. We get that set and tinfoil lined, and then when we're ready, before we lay our nachos, we're going to put a little bit of olive oil spray. And today's tortilla chip of choice, we're going with the Tostitas, lightly salted, 50% less sodium. Again, you know, everything is so processed to begin with. If I can, keywords, I try to get stuff with lower sodium because there's so much salt in everything, and that's what keeps all the numbers up. Believe me, speaking from experience. So anyway, let's move on. Let's get these beans and let's start washing them. All right, we're at our trusty sink here. We're going to open up our beans. These are nice. These have the automatic opener one. That's what I like about these Goyas. You don't need to get the can opener. And I got ourselves a basic strainer. Dump all those beans in there. Try to get them all out. Grab a spoon here. I don't always like to cooperate. And the beans are just doing veggie style. A lot of times, as you've seen on some of my other videos, I add the meat and all that stuff. But I like to sometimes stay away from the beef. Now, we do try to go with turkey sometimes. Not a huge fan of the turkey nachos, but we do that. I prefer the lean ground beef. But we're doing the two bean protein, I call it. The two bean protein nachos. And the red beans going in. Now the red beans is what's used to make refried beans. But we don't need to do the refried beans when you have the whole red bean. Matter of fact, it's better, to be honest with you. Plus it's easier to distribute on the nacho itself, the chip. When you have the refried beans, it's very hard. It's very pasty. And it's hard to get those beans on there. Okay, so we have that. We're going to put our faucet onto shower mode here. Let's see if I can bring you over. We got it on shower mode. We're going to rinse those beans down and get all that extra can sitting. And now I prefer fresh beans, but it takes too long to soak and all that. So I try to go with the lower sodium. And by rinsing them real well with cold water, it helps remove some of the chemicals. Okay, so we have our beans straining over there. We're going to get our trusty olive oil spray. Spray our tinfoil down, which does help because when you go to get those beans off with the cheese, it helps lift them off the tinfoil. I had somebody ask me, why are you spraying tinfoil so they don't stick? And what I do is, depends on how big your pan is. This is just a basic 9 by, I think it's a 9 by 18 pan. I try to layer. That's another thing why I like the tortilla chips. The size of these chips. They're great for nachos. Look at them. They're beautiful. They're just the right size for nacho. Some of the other ones you get, which I try to get a lot of the organic ones, which are good, but they're so tiny, they're really hard to, scoop all your stuff up on the chip. You got to be able to scoop your stuff up on the chip. Very important. Okay. So you used about 7/8 of the bag. All right. So there we have our chips. Now, the next step, into the fridge here. Be right back here, folks. We're going to get our cheese and our lettuce. We have cheese. Now, this is what you call improvising. Target was out of the shredded lettuce, but I found this little trusty guy. They have mini Caesar chopped salad bags. So what you do is I'm going to use the chopped lettuce, and I'll save the croutons and some of that and add it to something else, but fairly inexpensive, and I still get the shredded lettuce to put on top of the nachos at the end of the day. Okay, so we have our cheese. Another thing I try to do with the cheeses, once again, boom, out of luck, I try to get the lower fat cheese. Didn't happen, and I wasn't going to go to several stores for lower fat cheese, so we just want the classic Mexican style cheese. So we have the shells out here, our tortilla. I like to, next what I like to do is I put a slight thin layer, because we do two. Now that's another video I did, one of my bean, I think it's bean layer nachos. You have to go back in the archive and check out one of my videos. I always work in layers. So first I start with a, let's see if I can get you down closer. Who needs to see my ugly mug? Let's show you the dish. There we go. I like to sprinkle a layer of cheese over the nachos. And this is what I was talking about, the spray, because the cheese, the ones that get away, happen to stick. Okay? So we do that, right? And then I do a couple layers of the salsa. Now, some people put the salsa at the very end, which I do as a little bit of a garnish. But in the meantime, I get a little salsa, not too heavy, because if you go too heavy with the salsa, it will make the chips soggy when they cook them. So I just, gingerly place that on there. Okay, now we got our beans all nice and strained. Now what I like to do is to mix them up. The black and the red beans makes a beautiful color. It actually looks very fallish. Maybe I should have called these 2-bean fall nachos. Okay, and we just sprinkle those puppies down. Now, I like a lot of beans, so I kind of go generous with the beans. You can put as many as you like. Remember, this is your main source of protein. The beans is what's going to fill you up. So I kind of go heavy with the beans. I don't necessarily use the whole can, but most of the can, both cans, because this plate here is going to serve 2. And then once again, a lot of beans fall through the cracks, so as you shuffle them around, it's nice to shuffle them in there, like so. And then after we get the beans all on there, we hit up another layer of cheese. And that's what really holds everything together. The beans ties it to the chip. You got to have that chip, the beans locked down to the chip. You got to get them locked in. And that's what this cheese does, okay? Got cheese. And then lastly, let me rinse my spoon off. I do another little hit of the salsa on the top. Again, it's a nice mixture. When the cheese just blends everything together. All the flavors come together. And it's a very simple recipe. It looks more complex than it is, but it really isn't. And there you have it. We're going to pop this baby in the oven. Like I said, I have my oven set to 425. I recommend 375, not more than 10 minutes max, because you don't want to burn the chip. The higher the temp, obviously, you got to watch burning your chips, but I've been doing this for some time, so I just keep an eye on it. I don't even use the timer anymore. In the oven we go. All right, folks, nachos out of the... This is what you got right here. This is what they look like. Now we're going to grab ourselves our trusty shredded lettuce. It says Caesar, but we're just going with the shredded lettuce. We sprinkle that all around the top like so, to garnish off our fabulous 2-bean nachos. If you like these kind of things, folks, check out my channel. I got some other great videos. I think we have the bean layered nachos and all that stuff. And then to top it all off, we go back to the... Hold on, I got to put you down for a minute, folks. The trusty salsa, just to add a little color. Sprinkle that around the top. Not a lot, just a little bit on top of the lettuce. Just remember, we did three helpings of the salsa. Put a little bit on the bottom, a little in the middle, and then a little at the top. Then you can garnish it off with sour cream, which we have this evening of choice. Right there, a little sour cream. Once again, couldn't get the light. They only had the regular. What are you going to do? Let's dig in. Let's try our 2-bean nacho. And you try it too, and let me know what you think. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for joining me this evening. Remember, please like, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, keep watching. I'm Crazy Eddie. We got more stuff coming your way.